Hello and welcome to Pictorial Planet. My name's John Finch. Today we're going to be looking at auto-developing papers. They're something they used to use in the early 1900s, but actually have come back into fashion now. They're so easy to make at home yourself, and we're going to look at it today and just see how effective they are. Automatic developing paper. It's been around for over 100 years. You don't see it much these days, but it's amazing when you actually see a demonstration of this working. It's fantastic stuff. And I think once you've seen this, you'll probably want to do this all the time. Now, here I have 3 trays, my developing trays. I have developer, stop and fixer, and it's important that they're in that order. And they're spent. So these chemicals, they're old. I'm going to throw them out anyway, so it doesn't matter. And it's important that we use old spent chemicals. And the reason is, when we make this auto-developing paper, it's got a very fast speed compared to regular paper. So it develops much more quickly, and it's much more sensitive to light. So by using old spent chemicals, we're not going to make it too fast that we can't control. Now, obviously I have to do this in red light, so shortly I'm going to turn the lights out, and before I do that, I'm just going to explain what I'm going to do the process. So I'll take out some paper. I put the sheet in the fix first. I'm going to do this backwards, and you'll see why later, but we first of all use the spent fixer, and we put the paper in there and we give it around about 30 seconds, and then I'm going to wash the fixer out, and then I'm going to put it in the stop, and then I'm going to wash the stop out, and then I'll put it in the developer, and then I'll wash the developer out of the paper. Now the reason I'm doing this is, as we do this, we basically create a layer of fix covered by a layer of stop and covered by a layer of developer, and we're creating an automatic developing paper that will develop itself. It won't need trays. We'll dry the paper. We still have to keep it in the red light. We dry the paper, and then I will show you exposing the paper under the enlarger, and you watch what happens. It is amazing. So, old chemicals. I'm going to get some paper out the box now, so I'm going to turn the lights back into red. I'm going to go red, and you'll see me doing this process. So I have a box of paper here, regular paper. I'm using RC paper for this because it does a better job, and I've pulled out a sheet. So I've got a sheet of this paper. It doesn't matter which size paper you use, but it's always better to err on small. So the smallest paper you've got is the best. Now, don't do this with expensive paper. You're wasting your time. Use the cheapest stuff you've got, because honestly, it's so good even with the cheap paper. So remember, I put it in the fixer first. So in it goes into the fixer. And I've got my timer here. Just set that. And we give it 30 seconds with gentle agitation. Now what this is doing is it's putting a layer of fixer on the emulsion. There we are. We're coming up to our 30 seconds now. So now I wash the paper. I'm going to just take it out. I don't think you can see it on camera, but there, I put it in the wash water there. So we'll give that a good wash. I'm going to give it a good 5 minutes of running water, and then we'll come back to the next stage. Okay, and the next stage, I've got my paper out of the wash here, is to put it in the stop bath. So we'll just pop it in there gently. This is old spent stop bath. It's hardly acidic at all. I tested it with my pH strips, but it's still slightly acidic, so I'd normally be throwing this out, but it's great to demonstrate this technique. So we'll give it doesn't need long in the stop, just 10 seconds or so. And we'll just gently and carefully take that out and put it in the wash, and we'll give it a wash for, again, about 5 minutes. We want to make sure that all of that stop bath is removed from the paper. All right, so now that's been in that wash for 5 minutes, and finally I'm going to put it in the old spent developer there very carefully and put it in. There we are, and just gently rock that in the tray, and I'm going to give it 2 minutes. 2 minutes in the developer. Now, if this developer was fresh, it would ruin it. It wouldn't work. So you've got to use the old stuff, and I'm adding this layer of developer onto the emulsion. There we are. So I'll fast forward for 2 minutes. All right, it's had 2 minutes of gentle agitation, and I'm now going to wash it. So I'm carrying it over the other trays, but that doesn't matter because these are old spent chemicals anyway, so it's not going to do any harm. And you know, I could make more and make a whole batch of these, but don't do that at home until you've at least tried it the once, because you want to get your timings right and make sure everything's just so, and that it's working for you. So okay, so now I'm going to hang that up to dry. We're going to stay in the red light while it dries, and then we'll get over to the enlarger and we'll take a look at how this stuff works. So we're now over at the enlarger. Now, while the paper was drying, I went out and had a cup of tea, and I'm back here now ready to show you the next stage. And I've got the negative in from last week. We're going to use that as an example of the auto-developing paper, and you can see it, and I've already checked the focus. It's spot on, so now I'm ready to use the paper. So I'm going to bring it over from the other side of the darkroom. And here it is. This is the paper, and it looks normal. I mean, it doesn't look any different than a normal piece of paper. So don't get confused. If you do this, don't mix it up with other papers, which is why I just do one at a time so that I can't make a mistake like that. Okay, in it goes. So the paper's in, and this is very fast paper, so it usually needs just a couple of seconds. So I'm going to just set my timer for 2.5 seconds, and we'll see how this reacts. You'll see in front of your very eyes, this paper will auto-develop. Watch this. 1,000, 2,000, and here it comes. I can see it forming already. And there it is. That's it developed. And if I just waft some air over it, because it sort of gets tacky to the touch, so just dry it out a little bit with some air. It's already fixing itself, and you don't need to wash it because it's been pre-washed. I've already pre-washed it 3 times. You saw me doing that. So this is the perfect way of using auto-developing paper. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and happy 1st of April.